Caleb Williams. Wow, what a divisive draft prospect to talk about in the 2024 NFL Draft. There have been many opinions and takes made on Caleb Williams as he is considered to be a generational talent in the 2024 NFL Draft. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Caleb Williams' draft stock, as I will also be making player comparisons for Caleb Williams, despite winning a Heisman Trophy in college football and playing excellent football. Statistically speaking, there are doubts surrounding Caleb Williams as his leadership has been questioned by many sports fans and draft analysts, with Caleb Williams being set to be the first overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. It now begs the question as to how successful he will be on the Bears. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Will Caleb Williams be a superstar or a draft bust? And with the way how Caleb Williams is acting right now, I'm going to go ahead and say that Caleb Williams will be a draft bust. Now, let me talk about Caleb Williams talent-wise, because I want to make myself very clear. How I feel about Caleb Williams off the field is very different to how I feel about Caleb Williams on the field. Off the field, I don't like Caleb Williams as a person. I've already stated that take several times, and I don't like him for several reasons off the field. But let's just talk about Caleb Williams on the field for now. I think Caleb Williams is a hell of a player on the field. I think Caleb Williams has the ability to be a game changer at any given time. Maybe sometimes to a fault, because sometimes he's not willing to take easy throws. That's the biggest criticism I'm willing to give out for Caleb Williams skill set wise. We all know that Caleb Williams has a rocket for an arm. We know that he's mobile. We know that he's fast. We know that he's pretty athletic. And we know that Caleb Williams is not afraid of big moments. Something that I have to give credit to Caleb Williams is the fact that he does not shy away from big moments. Whenever it's time for Caleb Williams to make a big play, what does Caleb Williams like to do? He likes to make big plays happen. There's a reason why he put up excellent stats at USC, and that he was often the guy carrying USC football into relevance. If it was not for Caleb Williams, USC football would not have even been relevant the last 2 years. And obviously, Caleb Williams is a special player on the field. You like his mobility. I love it a lot. Personally speaking, I like the fact that he throws with a cannon for an arm. In a way, his play style is very Aaron Rodgers-esque. And Caleb Williams has said himself that he kind of prides himself on being Aaron Rodgers-like. He's even called himself the next Patrick Mahomes. Now, personally, like I've said, I don't like Caleb Williams off the field. I think that he's too arrogant, and I think that he is a poor leader of men, and I don't think that he is going to be a good leader at the NFL level. I think he's also going to be a terrible teammate. But if we want to talk about Caleb Williams talent-wise, I'm Caleb Williams' biggest fan because of the fact that Caleb Williams can make any kind of throw on the football field, and that if you have to ask him to make a 60-yard bomb down the field, he's going to go ahead and get the job done, because we all know that Caleb Williams is a talented quarterback. And when you look at the Chicago Bears, where do they play in? They play in Chicago. What is Chicago known for? Cold weather with heavy winds. That's not going to be a problem for Caleb Williams though, because Caleb Williams has a rocket of an arm. You're not going to have to worry about arm strength with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams also has underrated accuracy as well. I think Caleb Williams has the ability to drop in dimes on a regular basis. I don't think people are talking about Caleb Williams' accuracy nearly enough. I've actually been really impressed with his accuracy and his ability to throw guys open. Obviously, Caleb Williams has the ability to scramble outside the pocket and make big plays down the field. And I've heard some people criticize Caleb Williams for not getting the job done at USC. And although I do agree with those criticisms to an extent, you guys have to remember that USC's defense was not very good in college football. In fact, they were one of the worst defenses in all of college football, and that Caleb Williams was required to basically score 40 points a game for USC, because if they didn't score 40 points a game for USC, they were probably going to lose every single game. That's how bad USC's defense was. And obviously, Caleb Williams was the only reason why USC was even relevant football-wise. I just don't think Caleb Williams is going to work out at the NFL level because of his lack of leadership skills. Obviously, there's going to be some guys that don't vibe with what Caleb Williams is doing off the field. I'm personally one of those people. I think it's weird for another man to paint fingernails as a hobby. And I also think that it's strange that Caleb Williams runs up to the stands after a ball game and cries in his mother's arms. And we saw Caleb Williams have an emotional meltdown as a 21-year-old man. And look, I get it. I'm 21 years old myself, and I understand that people can change. But you guys have to remember that Caleb Williams is a quarterback that's going to be entering the National Football League. You can't treat Caleb Williams like a normal 21-year-old kid. Yeah, a normal 21-year-old kid having an emotional meltdown, yeah, that's one thing. That's not good, but okay, we could look past it and let's see if we can take care of him mentally wise. But Caleb Williams plays football at the highest level. Obviously, at the quarterback position, it is a position of leadership. And when you are playing in a position of leadership, you can't have emotional meltdowns, at least not publicly speaking. It also didn't help that he didn't shake hands with Notre Dame's opponents after a game where he played horrible against Notre Dame. It also didn't help with the fact that Caleb Williams was skipping pressers late in the year. You guys remember when he lost to UCLA and then he was nowhere to be found after the game? Yeah, you can't be having those kind of moments if you're going to be a future franchise quarterback at the NFL level, because nobody is going to respect that. I don't respect that, and I don't think teammates on the Chicago Bears are going to respect that if he pulls off that kind of stunt at the NFL level. When you play football at the National Football League level, you guys have to learn how to respect the game of football, and I don't think Caleb Williams respects the game of football nearly enough. But let me talk about Caleb Williams on the field, because again, like I've said, I love Caleb Williams' talent on the field. I see a lot of Patrick Mahomes in Caleb Williams. I see his ability to play to win the game. It's not like Caleb Williams is scared of the moment. If anything, he kind of needs to dial it back a bit. I think Caleb Williams is fearless, and I think that Caleb Williams is not afraid of big moments, and that he's not afraid to make big time throws in big time games. The problem with Caleb Williams is there just seems to be something missing with the guy, mentally speaking. It seems like, yeah, he has all the physical talent in the world. Yeah, he could run pretty good as well, but there just seems to be something off with Caleb Williams. And obviously, when you play the quarterback position, it takes more than physical talent to be great at the quarterback position. And there just seems to be something missing with the guy. Something just seems to be off with him. I don't know what it is with me, but when I look at Caleb Williams, I don't know what to make of Caleb Williams in terms of how his career is going to play out, because I think that his on-the-field talent is so good that maybe his leadership skills won't matter. But the problem is, though, quarterback is a position of leadership, and Caleb Williams doesn't have that in him whatsoever. Now, could Caleb Williams mature and grow up? Possibly, but I don't see that happening because he's already got character issues as a 21-year-old guy that's only making a few $1 million from NIL deals. What's going to happen when he makes more money going into the NFL level? Money doesn't solve problems. It only makes problems bigger. And I think that if Caleb Williams is already this arrogant this early into the draft process, what's going to happen when Caleb Williams is going to be getting tens of millions of dollars? It's obviously going to make the problem even bigger. And I think Caleb Williams, as a result of that, is going to underachieve at the NFL level. Not because of the fact that I don't think that his talent is good enough. I think his talent is really good. I think the problem with Caleb Williams is he's not a great leader, and that he doesn't seem to rise up to the biggest occasions in the biggest moments, because you look at how Caleb Williams struggled to beat ranked teams. Now, do I think all of that was Caleb Williams' fault? Absolutely not. I think USC's defense sucked, and I don't necessarily think the coaching at USC was particularly great. I know Lincoln Riley is a great offensive mind, but I think overall as a head coach, Lincoln Riley is massively overrated. He develops Heisman level quarterbacks. He doesn't necessarily develop superstar NFL quarterbacks. The only superstar NFL quarterback he has successfully developed is Jalen Hurts, but that's because Jalen Hurts went into a team that had an elite offensive line, and that they were actually able to build a great running game around Jalen Hurts, and the fact that they also got him two really good wide receivers in AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. My point being is that Lincoln Riley doesn't necessarily develop quarterbacks into the greatest players ever in the NFL. And obviously, you look at Caleb Williams on paper for the Chicago Bears. Is he set up for success on the Bears? On paper, yes, because you look at the weapons that they have. They have DeAndre Swift, a guy that they signed in the offseason. I thought that was a pretty good move. They've got DJ Moore, who's a pretty good wide receiver one. Obviously, from my Carolina Panthers days, I'm pretty familiar with DJ Moore playing wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. He is one of the more underrated wide receivers in the National Football League. And of course, they added Keenan Allen this offseason. It seems like it's a good trade on paper. I'm not necessarily loving the Keenan Allen addition for the Bears, mainly because of the fact that he's on the wrong side of 30 and that he has injury issues, but he is a good wide receiver too if he can stay healthy. And of course, they've got Cole Kmet, who is a decent tight end, and they have an above average offensive line. On paper, yes, the Chicago Bears are set up for success around Caleb Williams. However, I don't think they're actually going to end up being successful because of the fact that their head coach, Matt Eberflus, is not a good coach whatsoever. I don't know how Matt Eberflus got a third year on the Chicago Bears, because he is one of the worst coaches in the National Football League. And you guys have to remember that he is also a defensive-minded head coach. I feel like if Caleb Williams was to be majorly successful at the NFL level, he needs an offensive-minded head coach, and Matt Eberflus is obviously not an offensive mastermind at the head coach position. And then you look at the offensive coordinator position, they've got Shane Waldron. He's not necessarily somebody that's from the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan tree, at least not directly, and he doesn't really seem to be an offensive innovator whatsoever. So obviously, play calling wise, it could become very predictable. I don't think the Chicago Bears are necessarily necessarily setting up success for Caleb Williams. On paper, it looks good for them, but I don't think it's going to necessarily work out for them. I could see Caleb Williams being mediocre at the NFL level. As far as what player comparisons go for Caleb Williams, I think his ceiling is obviously Patrick Mahomes. Hopefully, for Caleb Williams' sake, he can mature, grow up, and if he does, he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, because there is no throw on the field that Caleb Williams can't make. Caleb Williams can make all the throws out there. Of course, middle ground, I'm going to go with bigger Kyler Murray. He's basically a more athletic Kyler Murray in terms of being able to make certain throws and being able to run around outside the pocket, but that he is going to be a bad leader of men. And of course, my floor for Caleb Williams is Jay Cutler. I think this guy is going to ultimately beat Black Jay Cutler when he gets drafted by the Chicago Bears, because we all know that the Bears don't do a good job of developing quarterbacks whatsoever, and that Jay Cutler was a lousy leader when he played in the National Football League. Obviously, you guys know how I feel about Caleb Williams as a player and as a leader. I like him as a player talent-wise, but I hate Caleb Williams as a leader, and I don't think his leadership is going to improve at the NFL level. Therefore, I see him being the next Jay Cutler in the NFL. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback, and I think that he is massively overhyped as a draft prospect. I don't think he's going to live up to the hype, and that he is going to be a bust at the NFL level. So that is why Caleb Williams will end up being a major draft bust for the Bears, as he has been an overrated draft prospect in the 2024 NFL Draft. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.